like to share with you some of the ways that we've been really grounding into ourselves, finding our own intuitive approach to what we need to be doing on the planet. Maybe through some of these ideas with you, it will give you a chance to also think about the things that you like doing. As we have a retreat coming up in November on North Stradbroke Island, which is just off Brisbane in Australia. A beautiful Lemurian type island that we'd love to talk about today. The way that we tend to do things is to go into our heart, so I thought maybe it would be good for us each time we come together is to be able to drop into our hearts together, and who better to do that than my dear friend Simon.
Thank you, Kirsten. The idea of this meditation is to move the center of consciousness into the heart. So put your hand on your heart and just take a breath or two and feel the connection of your hand, the palm of your hand, to your heart. Immediately you make that connection, you feel the expansion of your heart. And the heart loves to hear words of love, so you can talk to your heart. You can actually say, I love you, to your heart. It's not so much the words, it's the intention and the frequency behind the words. Drawing love down from the cosmos, from the great central sun, in fact, pouring through the meridians of the body and into your heart. You can do it as a visual by seeing golden liquid light coming down through the crown chakra, finding its way through the song lines of the body, the meridians of the body, the pathways of electric light, and feeling the expansion in your heart. It's like feeding the inner child with love. And it builds and builds. It's a very curious thing, but humans can create love out of nothing, out of their intention. We generate it. In a way, you fake it till you make it, until you're overflowing with love. And you send the love down through the base chakra into the telluric energy, into the song lines of the earth. This is what we are doing on sacred sites in our area all the time, sending love into the ley lines, the dragon lines, the song lines, the electromagnetic lines that encircle the earth, with the intention of creating the fifth dimensional template. And many, many people are doing this around the world. So we send the love down into Mother Earth, but we go deeper, sending the love into the core of the earth, the heart of Mother Earth. And Mother Earth loves to have contact with you at this level. And she responds by sending love back into the heart. You can feel a subtle wave come up into the heart. Because by doing this, you're sending that energy down through the female line of your ancestors into Mother Earth. Mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and Mother Earth. By making this connection stronger, you're unplugging from all of the systems of the matrix, the limited systems, back to the true source of all life, of all abundance, Mother Earth. So unplugging from the limitations of the systems which have been devised to keep us trapped in smallness. Mother Earth doesn't understand limitations. There is abundance for all. So she sends the love back into your heart, and feel the heart overflowing with the love of Mother, feeding into the toroidal fields, the figure of 8 that passes through the center of the heart. And then sending love up through the crown chakra, through the stellar gateway, through the soul star gateway, and through the galactic gateways, all the way through the male lineage of your ancestors, back through our sun to the great central sun, which is so important for us at this time of great change, connecting to the great central sun. And feel the response from Father, that creative spark coming back down through the crown chakra, all the other chakras relating to the cosmos, dropping down back into the heart and mixing together with Mother's energy. The two energies mixed together, forming a perfect balance, like a yin-yang symbol in the heart. One is supporting the other, not dominating the other. And holding that love in your heart. Let it settle down. The two energies settle down. So we're seeking the balance between the two energies, Mother and Father energies, within us. And then visualize the center of your brain where there is, of course, the pineal gland. And the pineal gland has a purpose. As we know, it holds many potentials to see through the dimensions and to give us the abilities and skills that have been suppressed. But it's also a reference point for the center of our consciousness, which for the last 12,000 years has been in the center of the brain. And, we've lived through the age of Pisces, which is symbolized by two fish swimming in opposite directions. So always the age of duality. Mainly, you could describe Pisces as war, peace, peace, war, continuously. So we need to symbolically shift the center of consciousness out of the duality machine of the head and into the heart. I mean, that the brain is a wonderful tool, but it's a very poor leader, as we can see from our world. It's been, it really needs a master, and the master is the heart. And in the fifth dimensional energy of Aquarius, that's where we need to relocate our center of consciousness. So visualize the energy stepping out of the center of the brain in the form of a small child, you as a small child, and stepping into a beautiful bubble. It's called the Jivatma by the yogis. And immediately that begins to drop down through the ventricles of the back of the brain into the throat, coming down through the chest, and eventually finding its way to the back of the heart, shifting into the heart, our consciousness center, Jivatma. To go into the heart, we acknowledge the guardians of unconditional love. The guardians of the heart have been the mothers, the keepers of unconditional love. And we see it in the form of Magdalene, we see it in the form of Isis, and many others, Kuan Yin, Tara, in all the traditions. Mother, this is the age of the feminine. So with acknowledgement to the keepers of the heart, we enter the heart. And the heart is symbolized in the mystery schools as a rose. And as you know, the rose has many layers, many petals, and it's like a spiral. You go into that spiral with your Jivatma, and you spiral and spiral until you come to the absolute center of the heart. And when you get to the center, the bubble dissolves, and there you are, the innocent child that you always have been and always will be in the heart, surrounded by your ancestors who are so happy you're doing this work. In the very epicenter of the heart is what the yogis call the tiny space, and it is written in the Upanishads, all life is here. Everything that was and will ever be is here. Thunder and lightning is here. And we get used to being in that space and talking from that space, walking from that space, operating from that space in daily life, slowing down, in other words, slowing right down, trusting that you're in the right place at the right time. In the heart there are 40,000 brain cells, and they're all divine. They're connected to the universe. So there's no ego here. The brain cells are of a different quality. They store and accumulate knowledge, whereas the heart, the brain cells of the heart, when they're activated, connect to divine knowledge, universal knowledge, global knowledge. It's not yours, it's everybody's. And it's this space that we want to bring into our special retreat that we're doing. We want to bring this energy of the heart-centered living into our space. And it unites the group. When you sit in a circle and you're connected through the hearts, there's no competition, there's no dominating one guru type person. We're all in that space of availability, all in that space of unconditional living, which is really a major part of this story. And within each person's story is the medicine you need to hear, provided you are listening unconditionally and you're in your heart. Would you agree with me?
I've probably been going to Simon's walks and different ceremonial Ascension ceremonies probably a year and a half, maybe two.
Two, I think, yes, something like that.
And I could say before that I felt like I was always connected to my spirit, but I was very much in the head, and I didn't even realize. And then the more we've been doing a beautiful meditation at the beginning, being on the land in nature, and then circle and sharing, it's just, wow, so powerful. It's really changed me, made me more, I feel, kinder, gentler. So thank you so much, Simon. We got inspired this year to look at doing a retreat. So not so much we're going to do it for people, but co-created, like the old days of community. My background is, I'll share a close-up later, but this is about the 1880s. My mum's side is Māori, and my great-great-grandmother in the middle here is very special to my heart. So are they all, but it's just a beautiful culture, Māori from New Zealand, Aotearoa, to be able to really feel connected to ancestors. So when I heard Simon really connecting to that, and also connecting to the earth, and we have Rā Ranginui, so it's all so similar. My other side is Scottish, so I do resonate with the strength and feistiness. But yeah, in this time, it's a time of bringing that into a sense of power, and that's through peace rather than being too feisty like Māori people and Scottish people have been known to be in the last few centuries. So yeah, that's my background, why I was really interested to bring people together so people can spark their own sense of who they are and why they're here and what their purpose is, instead of this follower teacher. I feel like we're moving away from that, and so by creating space together, cooking together, doing things together, and on an island will be even better because we can do it with kangaroos and dolphins. And the stars at night. It's really a wonderful way for each person to find what they're meant to be doing themselves rather than someone telling them anymore.
That's my sense of things too, that by doing that you begin to find your divine purpose, and you're more able to step into that role from your heart rather than from the struggle. I mean, a lot of people wake up and they want to be a teacher immediately, but really it's a progressive realization, and we're all teachers actually. So I learn as much from sitting in the circle from, I don't call them students, but I mean from people who come and join us, as they do from me. I'm sure it's become a very mutual exchange. One thing that's important to mention is that I was guided by an Indigenous lawkeeper to do this work on sacred sites here in this area. So we always acknowledge that, and we always open the directions in the way that he has taught me. So the protocols, introducing yourself to the land is very important. Changes the whole experience. Once you get in that energetic circle and you've done the protocols, then the magic happens spontaneously. Because the important thing at this stage in the proceedings of Mother Earth, if you like to put it that way, is that we all need to become as clear as we can. We need to have easy flow through our system. Our nervous system needs to be prepared to receive, and it is receiving all of these extraordinary energies that are coming onto this planet in this truly extraordinary time of ascension.
We called it New Earth Dreaming, so you might have heard the word New Earth. Well, what is that? What do we vision? And so by dreaming, and the Indigenous people here in Australia, you know, the word dreaming, coming back to dreaming and being the dreamer, coming up with what we want to see. And then the idea of Lemuria, I feel a real resonance with Mu. Some people call it Mu. So Le Mu, yeah. That's a long story, but we look at the timelines, and really we can actually bypass those, start to feel into, well, what was it like when we were really, truly, fully connected with nature, with oneness, with ourselves, with the whole cosmos, and then bringing that also into the future. So doing some visioning around what will that look like. So then all of a sudden you'll find it starts to happen and appear around you when you're actually able to really see it and feel it and have it in your heart. So the more we can do that together, it will be great. We tend to get together now and again, and people live busy lives, but how wonderful to get together for 4 or 5 days together. It's going to be amazing.
It'll be a great, like you said, it's a great service to yourself and a great service to the planet and great service to your ancestors, you know, and there's nothing more important
right now
this time than to do that. And if you focus on your own practice is helping other people. Becoming a clear channel, a clear vessel, you know, for the, and we're going through great changes in our physical body, you know, the crystalline, changing from carbon to crystalline. It's quite an extraordinary, it's almost impossible to explain it because it's such a big change. And it's building up to a particular moment when there will be a thing called the Samvatika, which is written about in the Bhagavad Gita, a moment of change. When enough people are in their heart, when enough people are clear vessels, it will trigger a solar flare of huge proportions. It'll be a very beautiful thing. It's nothing to be afraid of. And it will set us on a very beautiful course and change things in our experience will be very different.
It's just so much more magical than the normal
Yes.
Life. When you put yourself into a state of being, well, some people might call that fifth dimension, or you're really coming from your heart, all of a sudden things, people, situations occur, and it really does make life quite magical. So going on an island with a lot of nature and all of that as well, you know, connecting to the 4 directions, the fire, the sun, there's just so much to all of this. That's why, you know, some people might have chosen to take a path of following a leader or a charismatic leader or a particular belief system. But I've especially been looking at a lot of ancient civilization research, and it's amazing how it really all is one. You know, the idea that there was Lemuria and maybe even Atlantis, and we walked across continents. So that's why, not just on boats, but we've had so much knowledge pocketed throughout the world, very, very similar. And we're coming back to that realization now and starting to go, wow, we haven't been sort of always warring and nasty and horrible to each other. We've actually been very amazing, advanced, loving. And when we can focus that, we can do amazing things very, very quickly. So it's not like it has to be a big, slow process to have a more beautiful world with clean water and clean air and lovely abundance for our children. It could actually be quite quick, but it does require each of us to get to that state of being where all of a sudden what shows up around us is that world, that abundance, that beauty.
So yes, it's always from the internal to the external. The work is done internally and you see the results externally. And like you said, it can happen very quickly once you start getting into, you know, you're building up that locus of consciousness in your heart. Suddenly the synchronicity comes and your experience changes. You're not reacting to difficulties. You know, the real question is, can you stay in your heart and be stable in that space when what might be called hard times come, you know, when the government does something, or when, you know, when situation around you change. That is your role, is to be the calm one, to be the one in your heart, be the one who's steady and just keeping the peace. That's what we're doing. So yes, it's very beautiful, and really it's the law of one. You know, everything is one thing, and we're coming back to that understanding of the tribes of the world, that they put Mother Earth first. That was always the way with all of the pan-shamanic, really it was a pan-shamanic culture. They worshipped the earth, the trees, nature. Nature was the god.
And the sun.
And the sun.
Ra.
And
Maori people say Ra, Egyptians say Ra.
They do.
So many cultures use the word Ra.
Yes, yeah. So anything else you want to add to that?
No, I feel like we're on a bit of a roll. So we would like to do this regularly and to just show some of the changes and the depth of what we've been doing over the last couple of years.
Well, it's not. We're not going out to try and make a profit out of it. Really, we're doing it to bring community together. And thank you. I appreciate all the work you've done, because I need someone like you to organise these things. I'm not very good at that, but you know, it's really the way forward. You know, to bring community together in a simple format, and see where we go.
Wonderful.